So when it becomes overwhelming, these parents say, we need to take a break. We can't do this anymore. So then the children in their home get moved to another home. And that's how we have placement instability. They bounce around from home to home.
Even in business, when you have a business partner, you have to make sure that your business partner is your lifelong partner. Now, what happens? Business partners can go their own way.
People who want to pour into these young adults and let them know that things that you may not have thought about right now because you've been dealing with all these events in your life, they are here. They are out here for you. There's care. There's different types of responsibilities that you can have.
A lot of people forget that these adorable kids, these cute kids that are in care and experiencing foster care are going to grow up to be adults in our community.
Welcome to the Chris Salerno Show, your go-to for real estate, business, health, and family insight. I'm Chris Salerno, CEO of QC Capital. Each episode, we explore the latest trends and expert advice from industry leaders. Whether you're an investor, entrepreneur, or seeking balance, this show provides an inspiration you need. Join us and elevate your game on the Chris Salerno Show.
Welcome to the Chris Salerno Show. I'm your host, Chris Salerno. I'm very excited to have two of my guests on the show today. We're going to talk about everything about the foster care community, the ins and the outs, and making sure the families and the children in the foster care systems are well taken care of. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. I have Camille and Nicole on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm excited to talk about Charlotte Angels. It's one thing that Stephanie, our CMO, brought to us in our attention. And I have a huge passion for children. I have a 4-year-old son. He is my world. And that's one thing that we talked about when we had coffee.
Yes.
Before we dive more into Charlotte Angels and what their mission is, especially here in Charlotte, talk to us a little bit about your guys' background.
So I will, well, you know what? I'll let Nicole start because the reason why I'm in it is because of,
Okay. Well, yeah. So mine goes back a little further. My husband and I experienced an infertility after we got married, and we wanted to grow our family. We weren't really sure what that direction was going to look like. We suffered miscarriages. We just went through a lot. We eventually decided to adopt. That led us to an international adoption, which ended up failing.
Oh, wow. That's a topic we'll get into. International.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, we've pretty much done every path you think of, I think. So I feel like I could write a book at this point, but we went down that path and it didn't work out. So we were led to foster care and we knew nothing about it. I mean, you could read a book, you can read a dozen books, but it doesn't really, until you're in it.
It's just like parenting.
It is. So it is. But we ended up going from 0 to 6 years old overnight. So we adopted our son. He came home on his 6th birthday, actually. So literally 6 years old.
Wow.
And he had been in foster care since he was about 1. I mean, he'd been in 12 different homes. We didn't even know the extent of the trauma that he experienced until he was about 11.
Do they prep you for that? Like before you take that child home, do they say, hey, here's a little background just so you guys know?
They actually didn't know the extent of what I experienced.
really?
A lot of it was stuff that nobody knew.
Oh, my goodness.
But yes, I mean, you do have classes. Again, you take a class,
Yeah.
you read a book, you join a community online or a group of people, but it does not
Prepare you really.
prepare you at all. No. So he's actually about to turn 20.
Wow.
Amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah. No.
And a big 2-0.
We made it. When we got to 18, I was like, thank you, Jesus. It was a very rough, but it led us and it led me to the Angels organization. So I lived out west. My husband and I moved around for our jobs for a while, and we ended up finding Angels there. And when we did, I just knew that's where I was supposed to be. The mission, the community, the group of people that just were involved in trying to make a change and change the statistics. So I got involved with it there. And then I grew up here in Charlotte. So when we decided to move back here, I know my family's here. My brother and his wife had just had a baby. So it was like, we wanted to be back.
And Charlotte's a beautiful place.
It is. And it's changed so much.
Oh, my God, yeah.
But I said the only way that I'll move is if I can move from that chapter that I was at to the Charlotte chapter. And I did. And so it's been amazing. And then Camille and I go back 25 years.
It's wild. When you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a business partner I was talking to, and I'm like, he called me up. He's like, yeah, I'm at graduation. Can I give you a call back? I'm like, graduation for what? And he's like, my daughter's graduating college. I'm like, I feel like it was just yesterday you were touring college.
Exactly.
It's wild. So over
fast.
Well, when I only feel 30, I'm 40 something, but when I feel that, I'm like, how do we know each other so long? Yeah. So I, when we moved back, I was like, you are doing this with me, because she's my oldest son's godmother. And she was a part of everything that we went through. She knew what we went through and what we faced. And so she came in, and she's now the executive director, and I'm our operations director, and we're doing this thing together.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's literally, that's why I wanted her to go first, because the reason why I got involved was because she invited me to a dinner that they were going to talk all about Charlotte Angels, and I was sold. That dinner, I shed tears. I did everything I knew. I felt it in my bones at that dinner that this was where I was supposed to be.
I love
And I was like, I don't know what I have to do, but I want to join the board some kind of way. And so she was already on the board. So she's like, yeah, come on, we'll find a spot. And they found a spot for me. And then we kind of moved around on the board a little bit. And when the opening presented itself, I was like, we're going to do this together, because we have the same vision to change as many lives as we can in this community. And we can do it. And I know we can do it. And there's not anything that's going to stop us from doing it. So that's really where we have our drive from. And like she said, being best friends for so long and seeing everything she's been through, and
so hard.
definitely seeing what my godson, my goodness, what his life has been like, and what he can talk about and what he still doesn't even talk about, that we still don't even know. I mean, talk about write a book. That one could write a book.
Yes.
Yeah. And that by itself, we know, both of us agree, that if Angels, any chapter was around during the time he was coming along, his whole life it'd be completely different.
Being in 12 different homes by the time you're 6 years old.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Statistically, the average is 8.3, that most kids will be in 8.3 different placements during that time, during their time in care.
Yes, about 8.3.
In their
They were
yeah.
moving around.
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
That's some are way more than that.
And the biggest thing you, as a child, you need is stability. You need that and consistency. Has that right there. And how can you do that? Moving on average 8.3 times.
Well, just imagine yourself as a grown adult going to a new place, new people, new bed, new bedroom,
New environment.
new rules. Every home you go into has different rules or expectations. You're constantly
Triad living. All 4 of us at this table have a different way of living where you go home. We have different things we like to do.
And different backgrounds.
100%.
So, from what
Different.
a child kind of went through beforehand to now being in another placement, that's a whole new system to learn.
Unbelievable.
And we want to, or what Charlotte Angels does, which is so just amazing and completely different from any other organization, is we stay with you for that consistency and that stability.
Yeah. I think that's why when you and I were talking, that's what I really fell in love with. It's not like, hey, here you go, now you're off, have a nice day, your hands are done. It's, hey, we're gonna be here for you. That's right. You're gonna be that backbone, that foundation that you need to become and have great character when you get past 18 and beyond, for your kids.
Right.
And that's what everyone needs at the end of the day, especially if they don't have that foundation of parents.
Well, and relationships heal trauma. That is a very profound, and so accurate. Relationships heal trauma. So when you are talking about these volunteers showing up on a consistent basis for these kids, that may be the only consistent face that they have.
Oh, yeah.
And they will be there for them through their duration. And if it is 3 years, 5 years, we've had 12 years, they are there, and they are that consistent support for them. And we actually had one time a family who was, they were volunteering for a child, and he was getting ready to reunify with this family.
Okay.
And he was going to be moving about 40 minutes away from where he was. And the volunteer showed up for their last visit in that home. And he was in tears, and he thought that this meant he was losing that person, and that person he's built that relationship with, that bond with. And she said, "Why are you crying?" And he told her, and she said, "Oh no, honey, I'm going to be with you. I don't care if I have to drive 40 minutes or 4 hours. Yeah. I'm still going to be in your life." And it was this weight that came off of his shoulder.
Oh yeah,
of the fact that she was not leaving him.
Most definitely. And I think as they grow up, we can all remember that one person or multiple people throughout our lives in childhood that really made a big impact. You know, I know one of my elementary school teachers, I'll never forget her, Miss Dudley. She taught me how to stay calm, and I used to be a firecracker. Anything that happened, I used to, I hated to see that, and I see you don't see it anymore. There,
Dudley did well.
I know, right? She did so well, but I used to be a firecracker. And my family will tell you when I was in my early teens, I was a firecracker. But now I am very. It takes a lot. Like it takes a lot for me to push over that. But she told me, she said, count to 10 very slowly, Chris, and then analyze what you want to do. And I was 12 years old. And so every time I started feeling that firecracker come up, I did that, and boom, I'm calm. And so now I don't even have to count to 10 because I'm all calm all the time. But yeah, I'll never forget her. And I'm sure these children are the same way. I mean, we all are, is that they'll never forget those relationships. That's really is a pivotal time in their life, as they grow.
Right.
It's phenomenal what you guys are doing to give that foundation to them. So Charlotte Angels, you said you were at a chapter out in the West Coast. Now you're over here on the East Coast. So Charlotte Angels is a national organization, right?
We have over 20 chapters across the country.
I love that. And every chapter starts with the city, like Charlotte Angels.
Yeah, that's right.
Got it. Very nice. And so same mission across the board.
So everything is the same. It is exactly the same.
I love it. And walk us through, first start to finish on what Charlotte Angels essentially does, from all ages, how things work, all of that.
So over half of foster homes close within the first year. So they get licensed, they open their doors, they have a child come in their home, or multiple if it's siblings maybe.
And they get licensed by the state.
You can get, there's agencies and everything does go through the state. But you can go through any agency. And once those children come in their home, you're talking about doctor visits, therapy, school, visitation, and then just running a household and having to do grocery shopping, making dinner, laundry.
These parents are showing interest on wanting to help the foster community, and they're going out spending, I'm sure, money, because we all know the state wants their money to get these license to have a foster home, and then they're realizing, wow, what did I sign up for?
Exactly. It becomes very overwhelming very quickly because, just the day-to-day of what you may be doing in your day or taking care of your son.
Oh, yeah.
And then imagine having to run him around to multiple, appointments. And then when it becomes overwhelming, these parents say, we need to take a break. We can't do this anymore. So then the children in their home get moved to another home. And that's how we have placement instability. They bounce around from home to home. We don't want that. We know that's where trauma feeds. So we are all about, our programs are meant to have placement stability, have consistency, and make sure those parents feel encouraged and supported to keep doing what they're doing. They're doing the hard work.
Oh, yeah.
So
they're working, they're making sure food's on the table. That's right. All of them.
Exactly. So anything we can do to take a little bit off of them to make sure they can keep on going is what we're going to do. So our Love Box program matches a volunteer with the family.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we're definitely going to dive deep into it now or down the road, but keep going.
So the Love Box program matches a volunteer with the family, and it's very intentional. Our matching is kind of like dating. It's like
dating.
There is a process. It's virtual first.
It should be, because even in business, when you have a business partner, you guys are running a business. It's a nonprofit, but you guys are running a business. Right. You have to make sure that your business partner is your lifelong partner at the end of the day. Now, what happens? Business partners can go their own way. You can, split companies up, things like that, just like you can file for divorce. So it's super important. I think even more important for a child to understand their match is very, very similar, because I feel at their development of such a young age with their mind, that right there, like you and I, we can go into business and then part ways. We're okay. We're adults. We understand it. But as a child, it's a lot harder.
That's right.
Because they can't resonate with their mind to say, oh, we're parting ways. Why? Just like that one, example you said, he thought the world ended.
Yeah.
But she was like, no, it's okay.
We don't want to introduce somebody into their life, another person who's going to leave.
Most definitely. I'm a single father, and that's one thing is I have to date you. Like in a relationship, we have to say, hey, we are dating, we're exclusive, and you will not meet my son until after 6 months. And at that 6 month mark, I have to feel comfortable still. If I don't feel comfortable, You may not meet them for a year.
I mean, comfortable and confident.
Well, yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that is super important because I'm sure, there's parents out there too that are bringing multiple significant others around repetitively, and to me, that's a no-go.
Right. And what these children have already experienced as far as coming and going and not having that stability
Most definitely.
is very
They can internalize it as it's their fault. They right away because it's my fault.
right.
Yeah.
And
And they blame them, but they're too young to understand. That's right. Not you.
Right.
You got to love yourself. You got to love yourself before you can receive love from someone else. I'm a firm believer of that. And at that age, it's so hard. You're still figuring out yourself.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say, I truly love myself. It's okay. Let them go and I'll find someone, So this matchmaking process, can we talk a little bit about that? What does that look like? What's that entail?
So it's very intentional as far as making sure they're in the same area of town. We don't want somebody to be across town. It will be a lot harder for them to show.
oh yes,
Yes, we want to make sure there's no barriers. They are going to get there and be present. So we do that. We also make sure they have maybe similar hobbies. Sometimes that the families have kids around the same age, so they could do play dates, things like that. So it's very intentional. We start with like a virtual meeting just on Zoom, make sure, just kind of get everybody to know each other, get comfortable. And then if everything's good, we'll kind of move on to a little like coffee date or something like that, just to get meet in person. Yeah. Yeah. A little.
That's good. I love that.
And then after they meet for the second time, if everyone's confident, and at that at that time, our volunteer will know if this is something they can actually handle. I mean, this is real life? Like, oh yes, you really know what to do now.
Playing around.
Right. And our family will get comfortable with that volunteer. If they see something, they're like, I don't know. At that time, both parties still have an opportunity to say, I don't know. I didn't get a good vibe, or I don't feel it. I don't.
It happens.
But sure. I mean, just like in dating, and after first, maybe second date, maybe third date, you're like, hey, we're better off as friends. Like I'm not vibing right now, and I'm sure that happens there too. Because it is a long process, and it's very tough as well. Signing up for any child,
That's right.
and especially if they're younger, they're going to want 100% of your attention. So, really thinking through, okay, am I running a business or am I working a W-2 9 to 5? Can I make sure I give the attention that the child needs? Because in this position, in my opinion, as a foster parent, you have to understand that they're going to take all your attention. You have to give up things that you don't want, that you want to do
100%.
for that child.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to do that, which is fine, you can, I believe people should have selfishness to a certain extent. Like you should enjoy yourself. You should have fun by yourself. But if you can't give that up for a child, then you're not ready, in my opinion. Like you have to be willing. I will give up anything for my son. He's number one in my life. And so I think it's super important that they really resonate with themselves before they actually say, okay, it's time to move forward.
And that's why we have this process.
yes.
It's just to go through those, make sure they're ready.
Oh, the ratio would be really bad if you just say, hey, here you go.
Exactly. But see, for us, it's especially for the Love Box program, it's not just the child experiencing foster care in the home. You also have to be present for the caregiver, their bio children, kinship children, anyone else in the house. If they live with their parents, our grandparents are still present in the house. Everyone is taken care of. So if a volunteer
Child,
it is not just the child.
I love
We take care of everyone in that house. So if there are 4 children in the house and 2 parents, that volunteer is going to try to be friends with and relieve and give support to the caregivers as well as the children in the house.
most of them. I love that.
So they show up with this love box, but that's really just the excuse to show up.
Yeah.
And this box can be filled with every month. It's things that are around that. So like summertime, it would be some maybe outdoor toys or board games or just things like that. Also household laundry detergent, things to help the whole family. And then when they show up in ways too that are just however it's going to help that family. It's case by case. Sometimes a caregiver will say, well, you can play with kids in the backyard so I can get caught up on laundry. My laundry is piling up. And I know it will help me if you can.
It's a little thing.
It's a little things. We've had a caregiver before say, can you come color with the kids at the kitchen table so I could take a bath without being interrupted?
We all, as a parent, we all know. Yes, we've been doing the door open.
Little hands under the door.
Yes, little hands are in the doll.
It's whatever's going to relieve a little bit of stress from them, whatever that looks like.
Most definitely. Yeah. And we'll definitely put your guys' Instagram below because I love watching it. You know, when you guys post about everyone creating these boxes together and, arrival of them. And again, it's the little things in life that really mean the most.
That's
and
right.
really go a very long way, especially in this community.
It's so important to realize that even when we do these matches, even for the volunteer to know that you may not get the full scope of what is needed in that home until like 2 or 3 visits.
Oh, most
It's so hard for a caregiver to say, I need help in this area.
Yeah.
Or this would be what would help me. But once they do,
Once they do, 100% of them will say, why didn't I do this sooner?
they, this could have been such a big help for me so much. So
Yeah, they didn't, but they didn't know. They didn't, they had to go through that process. God put you through that process to make you understand, okay, this is what I needed to do. This is what I needed to do. I'm a firm believer of that is in many ways, a lot of people are, they feel maybe they're a victim, but if they look at it from a different perspective of what am I being taught? What is this situation trying to teach me? And is it patience? Is it, certain different type of things? I'm asking for help when you maybe feel like you don't want to ask for help. It's all different. Yeah, it's all different. When it comes to the children itself, so you're with them all the way up until 18. And then after that, we're hoping, if they want to go to college, have a successful career, but walking them through all the way up until 18
If
years
they're in care that long, if they haven't been reunified or adopted, sometimes their path will go through adoption. So at that point, we're not. But through their time in care, yes.
And to say, our early teens, we joked about this morning of the, kids on their phone and know how to work it better than all of us at the table. When it comes to, that early teens, I'm sure, we talked about those relationships that they're long lasting. I'm sure the families are still in touch with them, even if they get adopted, just for that communication and, that relationship that they have, right?
a lot of times you'll find this situation that varies by situation, relationship. There's so many different aspects to that, but the good thing is for us with the we have the Love Box program, but we also have Dare to Dream. And so if they're teenagers that are in care, so that's ages 11 till 21, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So we will follow this particular teenager, and it's not even fair to call him a child anymore. And God, the adults, the adults in care, and we provide them with a mentor, and that's and we are so blessed because we have mentors on a waiting list right now. We're just waiting to get involved, and you don't find that in all of our chapters. And so people who want to pour into these young adults and let them know that things that you may not have thought about right now because you've been dealing with all these events in your life they are here. They are out here for you. There's care. There's different types of responsibilities that you can have. If you want to find help on how to open a checking account or set a budget, or
The school doesn't teach it these days,
Right.
which that's right. I mean, I was talking to the gentleman yesterday. And I said, I remember when I had home ec. I know how to sew, by the way.
That's right.
And people are like, you know how to sew? Well, yeah. You get in school. They taught me how to sew.
That's right. As middle school, it was home ec,
Picking, baking, cooking, how to sew, all of that.
how to put the fire out.
All of that. They don't teach you these days.
Right. They don't teach you that. So all of the basic
How to write a resume, how to dress for an interview.
They don't.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like they don't teach you how to do that. They don't teach you, how to dress. And one of the things I said yesterday is the most important thing. And when I give advice to anybody, I always say never give up. Like that's a huge thing I believe in. However, after a long thought process the past couple months, my number one thing of advice I give to someone is learn how to speak. If you don't know how to speak, you're not going to get the job that you want.
That's right.
And you have to listen. First, you have to listen to retain all the information and then learn how to speak. Learn how to formulate your sentences. Put words in certain places in your sentences. Because if you don't know how to do that, you're not going to get the opportunities you want in life.
Right.
If you don't know how to speak. And how I learned on my way in the private equity space, I went on YouTube and I looked at the billionaires that run private equity companies and I watched their interviews, how they spoke, how they presented themselves, how they, came across any situations. And that's the number one thing is learn how to speak. and you will get yourself very, very far.
A lot of people forget that these adorable kids, these cute kids that are in care and experiencing foster care, are going to grow up to be adults in our community.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they don't, you don't think about that. And so they will be adults in our community, and we want them to be successful.
100%.
So our Dare to Dream mentorship program really makes sure that they are set up with those life lessons and make sure they know what to do beyond care. So they will age out at 18, but they have a couple of years and beyond that. If they have this mentor that's going to be with them.
Oh, text them, call them. Yeah. It's a lifelong friend,
Right.
essentially.
Somebody to lean on.
Oh, most definitely. And so the waiting list was just phenomenal. When it comes to the mentorship, they're taking them out. They're taking them out throughout Charlotte, helping them out with anything. Educating them on that, preparing for young adulthood or adulthood, I should say, because the real world, I always say, is like the Hunger Games. It will eat you up and spit you out. And if you are not prepared mentally, you better be prepared. That's the only thing I have up there. You just better be prepared. So it's great that you guys have that mentorship program because there are children out there, even with families and stable families that are not in foster care that don't have a good mentor.
Right.
And their parents may not be that mentor to them. So it's super important for them.
That's right. There's so many parents are probably assuming that the children are learning it in school.
Yeah. Oh, they
Or not.
Here, no. And I remember when I was leaving and they cut out home ec. And I'm thinking in my head, why would you cut out home ec? Like, I learned how to write a check in home ec. Like, now we don't use checks anymore. We use Bitcoin or crypto, whatever. But yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you cut the basic essential needs out? And it's these kids and all of us as children, they learn so fast.
Yeah.
And then like we were saying, my 4-year-old knows how to use my iPhone better, and pull up and start being a DJ better than I did.
Exactly.
And so, pouring that information into them with the mentorship program, I think is super crucial.
Oh, it is crucial. It is definitely crucial because as we were just saying, that they have so many other things that they've had to deal with, so many other traumas they've had to deal with, so many other moving from this home to this home to this home that they've had to deal with. And to have someone that is just there just for you, to any question you have it's not a stupid question. You can ask them, you don't know. So you can ask them, how do I apply for college? I didn't even know I wasn't even thinking about college before, but now I'm thinking about college.
Questions.
That's right.
That's right.
And
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. Just a quick reminder to make sure you never miss an episode. Stay connected with us by following us on social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok at Chris_Salerno_. And don't forget to subscribe to YouTube to catch the video versions of our episode. You'll get exclusive content, behind the scenes footage, and much more. Head over to YouTube, Chris_Salerno now, and hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned because we've got more great content coming right after this.
So when I've talked to some people and they're like, I'm thinking about asking, just ask it.
Just ask it.
I mean, what's the worst they're going to say? It's no. Or, it's that fear. And that's what holds people back from being successful is the fear and the doubt in themselves. Even trying.
Yeah, it's true.
Who cares if you ask a stupid question? Oh, you thought it was stupid. I didn't think it was stupid.
That's right.
But it will literally change the trajectory of your life. Literally. We talked about statistics. 1 in 5 people incarcerated have had some form of touch in foster care.
Really?
So that is a huge
people.
1 in 5.
Wow.
1 in 5. And if children have been in 5 or more homes, they're 90% more likely to be incarcerated.
No way.
That's insane.
It's an outrageous.
And you guys we're doing everything in the power to
First
really
look at
limit
is changing the stats.
Yep.
We are trying to change all of the stats with sex trafficking, homelessness, teenage pregnancy. All of these stats are staggering, and they are so much of what the children actually hear, that this is going to be what ends up happening to you in the future. And we want them to be focused on going to college or starting a career or getting, moving out on your own instead of thinking I'm going to be one of these statistics. You don't have to be this at all.
No, and a lot of the kids that are in care get money for college. They can go for free. Exactly. So it's there, but they just don't go.
I always say, and that type of example comes up all the time. It's just like if it was 100 degrees outside and you didn't have a pool, but then you said, honey, I want to build a pool. So you build a pool, you guys use it every single day. Then you end up using it every other day. Then it's every once a week, and it's once a month. And then you look at each other and say, "We've never even used the pool this
Right.
yeah, I'm right." And it's staggering because we all have these devices at our fingertips. You can hop on YouTube. You can Google anything you want to gain knowledge about something, but you don't do it.
Right.
They have the opportunity to continue their education if they decide to and want to go to college, but they don't choose to. And I think the numbers are just staggering. On the way here, I was talking to one of my business partners, and he throughout the first question of what are you doing today, and I was telling him what really is warming to my heart and passionate about what you guys are doing is that we are shaping America's future. We are helping these kids have great professionalism, great character, and we're shaping America's future.
That's right.
And you have to do that at a young age. Because if you don't, you may get brainwashed throughout, school and other bad influences. You're going to get brainwashed, and you'll be one of those individuals that are incarcerated or something like that. Which, if you don't have that guidance of what you guys are doing and the foundation of what you guys have, it's so difficult because that shiny object syndrome or that squirrel syndrome.
Yeah.
When you're so young, you're like, oh, those kids look cool over there.
Yep.
Let me go hang out with them. No, they're not. You don't want to do.
You don't want to do that.
Because that is just a little moment in time. You may feel cool, but trust me, that little action that they decide to do can put you in jail for the rest of your life for 3 years. Just those split 5-minute seconds, and at that young age, they may not have that mentor. Where you guys are providing that foundation for them to say, "Hey, look, this is it. You guys can succeed off this because it's proven. It's a proven way that you guys can succeed."
And we know we can't take away all the trauma. Obviously, being taken out of their home, being, whether they went through neglect or abandonment, and whatever. And
I think people need to go through that to really shape their character and who they are, because you can't take 100% of that.
That's right.
And if they didn't go through that, their character would be different. We all have different sort of trauma we've been through, and I think that's what really shapes who we are today.
Well, even my son, who's about to be 20 and was in care until he was 6 years old, he has skills. If I always tell him and joke, if you use them for good instead of evil, he is manipulative if you use that in a negative tone. But if he knows how to read people, he has a skill that he learned at a young age because it was his survival. Like he had to kind of do that. He had to read
sales.
That's what he wants to do.
Dude, get in sales.
He basically wants to be like you. He's very charming.
More than happy to come shower me for a debris instead of, he's
Very, very good at. And that's what I keep telling him. You are so good at talking to people and reading people. And like I said, he's charming. So he's very good at that. But it took him a while, a very, very long while to learn how to use that in a positive way. And that doesn't always happen for a lot of these kids. A lot of these kids, will go down a different path and they will use those in the wrong way. But they're learning the trauma. It's layers and layers and layers.
Most definitely. No, I definitely agree. The trauma is always going to be there. And again, I feel like it shapes the character of who we are today. But if we have those mentors and that foundation and guidance, we can be shaped into great characters as individuals, and we can positively impact society. Which is great. So my invitation's open if he wants to. No hesitation. Bring him on. I'd love to help him out. Stephanie will tell you I don't sleep much and I work extremely hard and very fast. So that's good. He'll be able to keep up. When it comes to the children that are entering the foster care system, what's that look like? Are you seeing more younger parents? Like, what are those the background of those children coming into the system that you guys are really looking over?
So the reasons why they go into care?
Yeah, the reasons why.
It varies. I mean, I think a lot of people think that it is because of abandonment or drug abuse or things like that, abuse of any kind. Sometimes it is that. Other times it can be just there's no one to care for them. There's a death. Maybe the caregiver was a single parent and they don't have anybody else. It's very vast. The reasons kids go into care, and it's not always
is it one more than the other? I will tell you, my son, he was in the NICU, so he was born a little early, 35 weeks one day. And when I was in the NICU, I befriended all the nurses in there and make sure my son's good, almost, make sure everything's good with him. And I overheard a couple talking about some babies that they call them meth babies. I was like, well, I know what that is, but I'm like, tell me a little more. And they were like, these are parents that actually use meth and drugs. And I was like, so what do you do? And they're like, well, we actually have to give them it to weed them off of it. Just like morphine or that. Just like if they were an adult. And I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And I felt so sick to my stomach. I was like, I pray those parents do not come in this room. Because there's a room with 25, 30 babies in it. And I'm like, I pray they don't come in here because they'll get my 2 cents. Like, you just don't do that to a child.
So when you get licensed to foster, you fill out tons of paperwork,
Oh,
obviously, but you fill out what you are comfortable taking, what kind of child you'd be comfortable taking. And there are a lot of people that just cannot take medically fragile or children that have gone through that.
That's a lot of work, just like we said earlier. Like, you're going to doctor's appointments, you're scheduling all that,
But the caregivers that take those children that come out of the NICU in that state, it is heartbreaking.
Oh,
And I've had to see a child go through that. And it is something that is just, there's nothing you can do. And that's what kills me because I want to fix it. What can I do? What can I do? It is heartbreaking, but that does happen. And it happens a lot. There are children, sometimes babies abandoned at the hospital.
I just can't even imagine. I can't fathom that.
And it could be a reason that they just don't feel like they can take care of the child. They don't have the means, or they're trying to protect it from there's no way really.
Like, be an adult and say it. Hey,
Yeah.
like, look, I'm in a position that I wanted to have fun one night and I had too much fun one night. And, now I have a child and I can't take care of it. Like, be an adult and at least say that. Like, it's just, I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
That a child just left at a hospital.
It's very
heartbreaking.
very heartbreaking. And for a period of time when I first became executive director, actually not even a period, like it was for a while. So I was the case manager as well. So I'm the one that did the matches for the love box and things of that nature. So I get to know the families really well, get to know the kids really well. And it's very heartbreaking when families take in newborns that go through these circumstances that you're saying. And in 3 months, they get reunited back with their parent.
Oh.
That breaks my heart.
And then they're back.
And then they're back in care again. And
you're like, where's that cycle where we could stop that? Like,
that's the part that is
there's government, that's embarrassing where it's like you just can't.
You could be for reunification. I mean, I'm for reunification. If that child and those parents do the steps, become, I mean, everybody goes through something. We're all just one choice away.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm all for that. But what's hard for me personally, and I'm not speaking as a Charlotte Angels representative,
Exactly.
I'm speaking as a mother who has gone through this with my oldest, is he was pulled around too much. He went back, he went into care. He went back, he went into care. And when you do that multiple times, all that's doing is messing with them.
100%.
I mean, it completely changes their I mean, they're in such a fragile developmental state, their age.
They are.
It's just not good.
I think we are always developing as humans, and I think obviously as we get older, we get really molded into our ways. But especially at young children in the teens and early ages, they don't. At the end of the day, they don't love themselves because they don't know how to love themselves.
They've not been taught yet.
Correct.
That's right.
And like for me, I love myself. I can be single with my son for the rest of my life. I'm okay. Why? Because I love myself. I love hanging out by myself, eating by myself. I love hanging out by myself. And these children don't know that yet because they haven't experienced themselves yet.
That's right.
And now they're being torn with their feelings and emotions is, you're my mother. I love you. Okay, we're together. Oh, no, back forth. And it's like, okay, there needs to be something where it's like, look, okay, we are not seeing that consistency.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
But they don't, I think they're more 100% for reunification is always their goal. And if they do maybe bare minimum of the steps, they'll put them back in the home.
Unbelievable.
And they'll just take the chance.
Things that lead, they will work harder to fulfill.
But I feel like you're hoping with a child. That's a whole human being.
Oh, yes. So one thing, and as we discuss, I can't get too deep into it because it's an ongoing legal issue. But I'm fighting for custody, or I'm in the court system for custody right now. And one thing I've noticed in general, not speaking about my case, but in general, is that they don't take they don't take mental emotions or damage to the child as it being actually physical. But what I mean by that is that you're not actually physically hurting or harming a child.
That's right.
It's actually mental. And
You can't see it.
correct. And the court systems do not even look
Right.
at that. Yeah. And I think that in some circumstances can be extremely more damaging to the child because you only get one brain,
Right.
you know, and if you with PTSD, with what they're going through back and forth, it really can mess them up mentally.
And like we said earlier, they start to internalize it and feel like it's their fault.
Oh yeah,
It's their fault that they got removed from the home.
and then that pressure is on their shoulders, right? And then I hate to say this, they start thinking about bad things to do.
That's
right. And that's what we don't want.
Yeah.
That's why we're trying to step in every step of the ways. Our programs are free to our families. They're free to refer. You can go on our website and make a referral. You can refer to itself. Yes, it's that easy. And we just want to be out here in this community to let them know that we're a resource for you to understand that if you're dealing with these situations with the foster community, and if you have seen other situations, refer that family.
Most of
The worst that can happen is it's a phone call. It's a phone call that we'll do where we'll say, listen, this is the services that we can give you. Is this something you're ready to accept? And if you're not, you're not. I mean, this does not your right balance you with. Oh yeah, we haven't convinced you, but I mean, you have to know. But it's at the same time, it's very much, it's a free service. I can't keep saying that enough. I think people think we're charging them to do our services. We are not.
advantage of it.
Take advantage of it. If you have a child experiencing foster care that just came into your home and you are newly licensed, and there's so many cases that we see where they just receive their license and the next day they get a sibling set, or the next day a couple goes from 0 children in the home to 4 children in the home.
And that's one thing I don't know what to do with that. Is like, you know, as a foster home, how many kids, what's your limit? Like 6. So 6. So 6 different children.
Children in the home. So if you have 2 biological, you could have 4 placement.
You got it. So 6 children in the home, and that includes biological. So if you okay, God, wow. So yeah, 6 is a lot.
That's a lot.
I mean, I got one.
That's what I said.
And he's Bam Bam. That's what I'm saying. Totally a little guy off Incredibles. Slow down a seat. But yeah, 6 is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that is a lot. And when you had the foster homes, and talk to me about this, is it mother or like mother father in there, or is it just one parent? Is it just
It could be one parent.
it could just be one?
It could be a lot. We have
Yeah.
cases now who it's one parent and she has 6 kids in that home with her.
Yeah,
Well, they range from 2
2 to 16.
16.
she's a superwoman.
That's what I say. I tell her that every time I see her.
Holy cow!
And she's just through your match. She was just so we are so excited. She was on our wait list for a while,
I love that.
and we found the perfect match.
Yeah.
And when you say that, that means another child in the home, or is she
That's with a volunteer.
with a volunteer?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, so she's going to get some relief.
There you go. So then that volunteer is going to come in with some extra hands.
Oh,
yeah, to help out.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. Wow.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important too, because 6 kids taking them to the grocery store, or 6 kids, let's go to the park. That's a lot.
That's right.
She does it, and she doesn't complain an
Or
ounce.
when you need to take 2 across town one direction and 2 across town the other direction. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, she has littles, middle. She calls them littles, middles, and teens.
teens. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't know how you do that, but girl.
We just matched one in our Dare to Dream, who's a teenager, a runner,
Yes.
and he just frequently runs away.
Mm-hmm.
But now to have a mentor that's able to kind of ground him.
So he just, oh my,
He'll take
Just
off.
take off.
like Forrest Gump bum.
Yep.
Yep.
If something doesn't go his way or something triggers him some type of way,
And that's his reaction. A fighter is like, he's got God.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. And so now he's got with a mentor, which is great.
Yeah. So
Just recently matched.
cannot wait to see that flourish.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Talk to us more about the Love Box programs. Can you highlight some success stories that you guys have with it?
Well, the main success story is that since we've been open, we have 100% that have stayed open. No one has closed their home. No one has
Love that.
had received their license and just went, I can't do this anymore. If you've been matched or even on our waiting list, which I think speaks highly of our organization, because if you're on our waiting list, you don't miss a beat. You get the Love Box through our board of directors.
We still love on them.
We still love
it. They have a match.
Oh, that's
Yes,
perfect.
yes. So we don't leave anyone hanging. That's not our forte. So I'm very, very passionate, very protective of all of our families.
I love that.
And so our Love Box success stories could be so many different things. Last year we had a volunteer that had been bonded with that family for, I think, about 13 months.
Oh, wow.
And she was asked to help plan one of the children who was experiencing foster care, their 10th birthday party.
Wow.
And she, delivered. It was like a whole event. They had a slumber party and they had,
They've never had birthday parties.
yes.
They've never had anything solely for them.
The 10-year-old actually asked for one, which was very big for her because she doesn't speak a whole lot or ask for a whole lot. And she's a part of a sibling set. And so she's like the quiet one. And so when she asked for a birthday party for double digits, they were like, we got to do it. She never asked us for anything. So, she wanted to sleep over. And so they made tents in the living room and sent me pictures, and they had s'mores and they did the whole thing for her. And the look on her face is just pure joy. She was just,
Oh my gosh.
and the volunteer said that aspect of one being asked to participate was one. That by itself was,
And that's
not
a little
for that volunteer.
Those are the little things in life that bring so much joy.
Yeah.
That
She was
fulfillment.
She felt like, I am now really a part of this family. You guys think of me enough to ask me to even help plan. And she went and got her nails done for her. And they had a whole day. And I was so thrilled with that family because they've come such a long way. This is another family that has 6 in the home. And they took in a sibling set of 4. So she already had 2 of her own in the home. And this volunteer has now been matched almost 2 years with this family. And she's not on anywhere. So they're so embedded with one another. She goes to the basketball games. She goes to the kids swimming. She does all the things with all
Go
the
to church
children.
together.
We have another match that, yes, they go to church every Sunday together.
Wow. So on average, how long may a child be with a family before they're actually adopted?
Oh, that can vary.
It really depends on their specific case.
Really?
So in the court system, how long you been doing? I was hesitant. That's going to be forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it can take forever. Yes.
So these children are having to wait on not the Chick-fil-A drive-through line, no, the court system drive-through line.
Mhm.
And I already know they're waiting 5 to 10 years at minimum. I know that.
There's some that the family, if they're with a family and if that decision has been determined that they can be up for adoption,
Yeah.
and that family wants to do that, that can move pretty quickly. But
Or when parental rights are terminated, sometimes they will,
that will move very quick.
it will move very quick.
Yeah, because of that level of situation.
Yes.
But
But the bio family has not terminated their rights, and they're just kind of dragging this thing out. The court's gonna let them drag it out. It's not.
They have multiple siblings or they keep having babies or anything like that.
wow. And so with this process, it goes through a family court system.
Mhm.
Oh,
Which thankfully we don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah,
So
we
we stay on this side of it. We don't have any.
you guys are saving up headaches. I would bring you some Advil today if you said that. No, so that's what the children's have, which is it's heartbreaking. And I said I'm going through that system, and I know how that system is, and just imagining those children going through that system is unbelievable, unbelievable.
But kudos to you for fighting. Your son can see you fighting.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? And he knows you're fighting. Some of these don't have anyone fighting on their side. They don't show support, and so they don't know. Yeah.
Or insignificant.
Yeah.
Being you have nobody in your corner, or you feel like you have nobody in your corner.
Oh yeah. And if you don't love yourself, you feel empty.
Yep.
But if you love yourself, in my opinion, that takes with age, experience, because there's people in their 30s and 40s that don't love themselves.
That's every.
So it really takes time for you being by yourself to understand yourself, to then love yourself. And these young kids, they're not at that point, like we've said, so they will feel empty. Because I felt that when I was younger, that empty feeling we all have as humans until you can actually love yourself. And that's something that, is unbelievable at that age for them to go through.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Talk to us about the community awareness. The community is super important. We need that community involvement, especially with Charlotte Angels. Talk to us on, how we are trying to get out to the community more, how you guys are trying to get that awareness out to them to either get donations and help with everything?
Well, there's two parts to that. So our programs are free to families, and the only way we can do that is if we have the funds to be able to do it, because we are taking care of all the children on our wait list. And so to do that, we need that. So we do have sponsors for events that we do. We do several events throughout the year. We do some public events that, like our festival, family festival every year, A Million Dreams Family Festival. We do that in May for Foster Care Awareness Month. We have a big gala at the end of the year, and then we do a few.
Excited to go to the gala.
Oh, it's so fun! It's gonna be so much fun. And then we do a few quarterly. We do events for just our families, so they get to hang out with each other. They get to really talk to families who get it, and kind of share resources. It is a lot of fun. So sponsors, we have grants that we will go after. We have monthly alliance donors that call our Angel Alliance that are amazing and give on a monthly basis to be able to provide for these kids. And then the awareness really is to obviously be able to fundraise, but also to be able to let people know we're here for families. So because you can apply, you can apply for yourself, refer yourself. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Because you can refer yourself, we want people to know that we're here. So that's another thing to get out into the public. And usually it's word of mouth
Most
that we reach.
And that's how you build very strong. I mean, our business is built off word of mouth, and
Right.
and our clients are, coming back to us from friends and family that they've referred it. And that's how you really build a strong, business. And then also, the character. Because normally if you're referring someone, if you're really good friends with someone or their character, they're probably having good character with, that individual that came in too. So no, I think that's super important. What keeps you guys motivated and inspired with Charlotte Angels? Especially, I already know helping these children, become great characters and young adults. But what keeps you guys both,
For me, it's seeing the impact, like seeing it firsthand and knowing, you can say and put it on paper all you want. This is what we do. This is what it's supposed to
but
do.
actually seeing that progress?
Seeing it, seeing these families, like when we have our events, when it's just the families, I literally will sit back and I'll get teary-eyed. I don't want to get teary-eyed now. But I will sit back and just watch and just see how they interact. And the kids have so much fun. They take it's just a weight off of them. And the caregivers, you see them actually kind of put down their wall. A lot of them are in protective mode. They protect these kids. They are fighting. And I know what it was like to foster. You are fighting for these kids every single day.
Oh yeah.
That sometimes to just have somebody say, I know what you're going through, and I hear you and I see it, and this is what I want to do to help. I mean, you can see them just kind of drop that wall.
Most definitely.
I think me being when I was doing the case manager part of it, and I still kind of go back to it monthly now, when I get a chance, because this role is so intricate.
Okay.
But is being able to talk to our families on the phone and giving them the space to have that 5 to 10 minute vent session that they didn't know they needed in the middle of the week.
Just let it
I let it out. Like, I'm a safe space, knowing that they know they can trust me with whatever they're telling me, and that it's not going to leave and go everywhere and all of that. And I think that is so important. So yeah, definitely the events there's such a joy. I will also say the events are a joy almost for a small selfish reason. And it's because my daughter always attends them and her son always attends them. And they love these kids so much that they ask for them now. Like, they're like, okay, well, is this one coming? Is this one going to come? Is this one and so to know that my daughter sees what we're doing and she kind of gets it now. She's 5. She understands what this means, and that giving back is so important. And this is what mommy does to give back. That's you'll get me to talk about Charlotte Angels every single day just to see her go, Monty's doing Charlotte Angels again. Okay, so she's got to go.
I know that. No, and that's super important because she is seeing you as that Wonder Woman, out there and making a difference in other children's lives, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
And I wish I could talk to you guys all day, but I know you guys have to get back to running Charlotte Angels and everything you do for the great community of Charlotte. How can people get involved? I know the mentorship program's on that waiting list, but how can people get involved, any way possible with Charlotte Angels?
You can go to charlotteangels.org. We have a lot of information there. You can become a monthly alliance member, which is the monthly giving. You can sign up to be a volunteer at one of our events.
I will say that monthly alliance member, I don't want people to think that you have to give a certain amount. You could give $10 a month and you're still helping me out. So you're helping out our programs in an incredible way. You are providing resources for these children, for these families, and for young adults who don't even know their next step, their next move. I want people to think about, it may not be right in front of you, but literally someone you're going to talk to in your day has probably experienced some version of foster care, or someone in their family has done foster care, so they get it. If you go to our website, charlotteangels.org, like she said, you'll see so much imperative information on how to volunteer, join our programs. We have our gala coming up. I mean, feel free to attend that. You'll get a wealth of information there and a great excuse to dance and be dressed up.
Now I won't be dancing because I'm not a dancer, but we'll be dressing up. So we will be there.
You'll be dancing. You don't know it yet, but you'll dance.
You give me all the dance. Well, hands, thank you. Well, I'm very excited for that gala. And ladies, thank you so much for joining us to just give us a background about what Charlotte Angels is doing here in the community of Charlotte, and something that we're passionate about, helping you guys out any way possible. So I just want to thank you for your time today, and looking forward to seeing where you guys take it.
Thank you.
Thank you for shining a light on it.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Chris Lerner Show. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insight to help you along your journey. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any questions or topics that you would like to cover, feel free to reach out directly to me. Shoot me a message on Instagram at Chris_Salerno_. Until next time, keep pushing forward and stay inspired.